It's Wednesday, the 9th day of April 2025. Good morning to you wherever you are. You're welcome to another edition of GH Today. I am Mohammed. A lot to unpack today here on the show. So please be my guest from now through till 10 a.m. A lot of issues that we'll touch on. We'll touch on Okada legalization. Now, the new policy is that if you want to engage in Okada business, well, you will be legalized. However, you have to be 25 years and above to be able to do commercial riding in Okada business. A lot of Okada persons involved in Okada business say they do not like this move. However, what they do not understand that this was promulgated back in 2012 in the Road Act 2012, LI 2180, which Regulation 37, which says that you must be 25 years and above to be able to engage in commercial driving. And so if we are replicating it in Okada business, then the law must take its course. What are your thoughts on it? I'd love to hear from you. President Mahama says if you're 60 years and above, you have to leave public service. We will not give you an extension of contract to serve in the public service. Some say, what happens to expertise? Some also say it will help bridge the gap in unemployment. This and more what we'll discuss here on the show. Please be my guest. But let me motivate you this morning. Our motivation is from Camilla Aaron Kimba, who says, you do not find the happy life, you make it. So whatever happiness you're looking for, it may not be lying at your doorstep, waiting for you to wake up from your bed, open your door and meet it. You will have to be deliberate, intentional in making that happy life. So please go out there. I know sometimes life can weigh heavily on us. I know sometimes life can be daunting, but look on the brighter side and make your own happy life. So that's a way of motivating you this morning. It's midweek. Go out there. Be happy. No matter what your hands find doing, be happy in doing it. Guess what? Somebody somewhere is always watching. Let's bring you our word of the day.
The word we have for you today is A-F-O-O-T. Again, A-F-O-O-T. Afoot. It's an adjective. Afoot means happening or being planned or prepared. Example, there are plans afoot to rename the company. Afoot.
So that's our word for you, Fashokutujimu, so that when the need arises, you can use it. Know that every morning here on the show, we help you improve your English language writing and, of course, speaking. It's not time to pump you up. I know it's a lazy morning, but hey, you need to go out there and earn your keep. So that's our video of the day for you coming up.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Emmys Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICC, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter or host in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience who are also watching on TVs and online, work with an Exo technology system which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets, and so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge but very affordable. Cost is really affordable. My experience with this EMI awards last year, super excellent. Try it, call them, and I'm going to give you the best of price. Really affordable.
We know, we understand you. Please enjoy it while it lasts. So anyway, it's now time for Inside Out. On Inside Out this morning, I'm sure you remember that in 2020, then candidate John Dramani Mahama promised persons who are engaged in Okada riding that their business will be legalized. It was after that the government of the day, then the NPP government, also stated that, well, we'll give you cars so you buy on hire purchase and be able to, drive to rid the city of unemployment. However, the NDC did not win in 2020. In 2024, this particular policy was stated in their manifesto, which stated legalization of Okada business. The NDC won in 2024. In 2025, President Mahama said, well, we'll stick to the promise of legalizing Okada business. Transport Minister mentioned that those in the Okada business embraced it. Now, there is a policy that has been formulated. However, there is a caveat. If you're 25 years and above, you can be able to engage in commercial Okada riding, which is not new to us. In Ghana, back in 2012, there was an LI promulgated, LI 2180, which stated specifically that if you want to engage in commercial driving, then you have to be 25 years and above. However, if you want to get a driver's license to drive for a private citizen, you must be 18 years and above. This, I've seen a couple of Okada riders say it doesn't sit well with them. But it will be important to speak to the Okada riders themselves and then find out. But let me tell you what this particular LI is. In Ghana, LI 2180, specifically Regulation 37, mandates that commercial drivers must be at least 25 years old to obtain a license. This specific regulation within LI 2180 deals with the age requirements for obtaining a commercial driver's license. What do the association in general think? Let's speak to the mouthpiece for that association. Solomon Akpanaba is the PR for the Okada Riders Association of Ghana, and he joins me on phone. Solomon, good morning to you. I trust you're doing well.
Good morning. I'm doing well. And you?
I'm doing awesome as well. The last time I engaged you here on GHOne TV, you mentioned that you were embracing the legalization of Okada and that there have been consultations at various stages. Now, we're learning that if you want to engage in commercial Okada riding, you'll have to be 25 years and above, which is in tandem with the LI, which was promulgated back in 2012. Is this news concerning to you, or you embrace it in totality?
Well, let me say good morning to riders all over the country listening to me or listening to GHOne, and then a good morning to you and your crew. Definitely, this is a bad news to us. Though we had wanted to celebrate the whole news about our business getting regularized or getting the legal backing, we had wanted to celebrate it in a grand style. This particular section of the policy is a big disappointment to us. You see, we knew that these things will happen once the 13-member committee did not involve us. They seemed to have lost their logical reasoning in bringing out this LI. Let me give you reasons why. In this country, a member of parliament only needs to attain 21 years to qualify to join parliament, right? The 18-year given to every Ghanaian to vote is assumed that bearing all medical reasons, the person is matured enough in terms of psychological, emotional, whatever. That is what they said. If you attain 18 years, you should vote. And this is embraced by many countries that are practicing democracy. How come that in our situation you need 25 years? Why 25? Why 18 years voted for John Mahama, who was riding, but then And now that the person is 19 years, the same John Mahama administration is asking that same person who voted for John Mahama to come and regularize Okada, to go and sit in the house and wait till he gets 25 years. I think these are enemies in disguise. They should come and explain to us what is in 25 years that is lacking in 18 years. Be it psychological, physical, they should come out and explain. Be it scientific, they should be able to explain what a person who has 25 years can do that a person 18 years cannot do. Else, they should reverse it. If not, we will demonstrate, we will take them to court, we will curse them. We are not cursing them spiritually, but we'll curse them when we are going for a next election. They should think twice. They shouldn't insult our intelligence. We didn't come here by virtue of wearing coat and tie. We mounted up serious logical arguments that no politician could stand. Ghanaians accepted it and told every politician, if you want to solve this problem, go this way. When we said Okada must be regularized, it is backed by scientific research. We didn't just get up and talk. So if they want us to respect them, they should respect themselves by looking or trying to find us the answers to the questions I just asked. That's our position.
But Solomon, I'm sure you know about the LI, the Road Traffic Regulation Act, which was promulgated back then in 2012. And so if any policy will have to be put in place, it has to be in tandem with the law. This is what the law says, no?
So the law that says nobody should ride and take money. You know, you can ride and pick people and drop from one side to another where we should not take money. Or was it not part of the law? It was part of that senseless aspect of the law. And we mounted argument that the law was obnoxious, it was unenforceable. Now this particular LI is equally obnoxious, is equally going to be unenforceable. Listen, this whole thing, before it can be enforced, we will support government to enforce it. Now, this particular senseless aspect of the law, we will resist it, we will make sure it doesn't work. Tell them that if they don't change their mind, that particular thing, we will disregard it. 18 years will work, 19 years, 20 years, 21 years will work. If they want, we will go to court. Now we will have a union that is backed by law. Any mistake they do, we will meet each other in court.
But Solomon, instead of demonstrating, cursing them and saying that the law is senseless, why not go to the decision-making table? Why not go to the table and say that, well, there's a constitutional amendment committee in place. Why not request that some of these things be scrapped out or be amended?
3 days today, we were at Ghana Shippers House or the Ghana Shippers Authority. We were there, where they made presentation, they made all these aspects of the LI known to Ghanaians. We mounted the arguments there, but we know that sometimes they are stubborn. They don't listen to common sense. So we made our point there clear. If they don't reason and listen to us, we draw that aspect of the LI and they push it forward to Parliament. That is where they will hear from us. We told them that it doesn't make sense that 18 years can vote, 19, 20, 21 years can vote, and they actually voted for their livelihood. You come and you want to use age to disqualify them from doing their work. What is that? How can you put a curse in a blessing bottle? What logically, what do you expect them to think about them and this NDC administration? There's 18, 19, 20 years guys who were doing either tricycling or Okada, who voted for this month to come and regularize their business, will now be told that sit in the house until you get 25 years. What technically do you think they should say or think about this NDC government? What do you expect me to tell them? Me that when the whole round country telling the people that vote for this government for this reason.
Solomon,
they are criminalizing the guys' activities just based on their age. And I'm asking that what is in that age that a 21 years old person can be a member of parliament but cannot be an Okada rider? What is in that age?
But Solomon, in 2020, when this promise was made, in 2024, you didn't know about this particular constitutional provision? The LI 210?
You know they wouldn't have dared mention this one in those days. Nobody would have minded them. I myself, I wouldn't mind them. So they only said they were regular.
And at the time, you and your association didn't think that
what we want.
Solomon, at the time, you and your association didn't think that it was imperative that you knew what the law says regarding road traffic regulations if somebody was making a promise to you?
No. If you say you will regularize, we assume that all this nonsensical aspect of the law will be catered for or will be taken into consideration. There will be some amendment. That's all. And if you, as you are asking me, you are giving us the opportunity to hear from us. We are saying that if they are men who have balls in between their legs, they should come and tell us scientifically, psychologically, what a 25-year person can do that an 18-year cannot do. They should come and tell us. And this should be backed by research. We should see the hospital producing the 18, 19, 20, 21 years as accident victims who were involved in riding that got accident just because of their age, whose 25 years do not do. They should bring us those evidence. You cannot just get up. Somebody is 18, 19, 20 years, voted for you today. What is this? They don't think, excuse my language. We are not surprised because those people were not on the field with us. Those people in coat and tie who came out with this decision were not with us on the field. When we were campaigning at Eastern Region and rain was beating us, those guys were not there. Those elders of us, ours were not there. If they were there, they were in V8. We were on motorbikes. They will hear from us more.
Okay, Solomon, thank you very much. After your meeting with the transport minister, I'd love to hear what was the outcome. So I'll call you back.
I will inform you, please.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. That's Solomon Akpanaba. He is the PR of the Okada Riders Association, and they are saying that the promise made to them was the outright legalization of Okada business. The promise was not to differentiate who has the right to ride for commercial purposes and who has the right to ride for private purposes. And so the government should amend the LI 2180 Regulation 37, which specifies that you must be 25 years and above to be able to engage in Okada business commercially. That's it for Inside Out. Well, since we're talking about the law, it's imperative that we head to the courts. And the Ghana has joined me. Captain Ghana Mutala has joined me this morning. Good morning, Captain.
Good morning, Lily. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
For me, I am okay.
I can see that. It's written all over you.
All over me.
Yeah.
You ought to have been around me yesterday.
I know.
But you know, we're still humble. We want to stay humble because the tie is still not done yet.
Exactly.
Yes, for those who didn't believe in us, for those who were calling us Popo Gligli, Arsenal has been suffering from Popo Gligli. Yesterday, we showed them positive Popo Gligli. Lantam, I know you are watching. I'm talking to you. And we won't relent. We have one leg is done, another leg Wednesday, a week today. And I hope to be here on Thursday to display.
Anyway, let's head to the courts. Guys were in court. Captain, what's happened in court?
Okay, so you know that in our laws or in our country now, we have lawyers who represent us as a country.
That's state attorney.
Absolutely, state attorney. So the office of the Attorney General represents the state in all aspects of cases, both civil and criminal. So if anybody initiates a civil action against the state, involves some judgment death and all of that, the state will still have to mount defense and fight all these. And Ghana is part of ECOWAS.
Yes.
And at ECOWAS, there's a court called ECOWAS Community Court, which Ghana is a member. Absolutely. So if Ghana is doing something to you that you are not happy, and the laws in Ghana are not, you think that are not doing justice to you, you can go to the ECOWAS court. Primarily, they deal with human rights issues and sue Ghana, and the court would deal with your issues for you and all of that. But in recent times, in fact, in between times, we've realized that there are certain cases that sometimes it goes to the ECOWAS court, then Ghana loses. Judgment debt is awarded, the courts award claims against Ghana and all of that. And it is because sometimes the rules of that court, the procedure of that court, and then the practices are not well known to the attorneys or the lawyers who represent the state. So beginning this week on Monday, there's a capacity building for state attorneys, specifically within the civil division of the Office of the Attorney General, and it's happening. It will end tomorrow at the Elisa Hotel and all of that. So during the opening day, the opening ceremony, the Solicitor General, Helen Akpene Awuziwu, who represented the Attorney General at the opening ceremony, I've been speaking to him about this ECOWAS Community Court and why Ghana has not been able to enforce its judgment fully. Let's hear what she said.
The issue is that we have not ratified the protocol to enforce the decisions of the courts. And so we have judgments against the state. But unfortunately, they will register the judgment before the courts of Ghana, but we always raise it as a defense that due to the ratification, they are unable. But quite recently, we had one against us where we are supposed to furnish them with some information. We have done that. We haven't finished because we are yet to collate the materials from Foreign Affairs, but the ones that we have, we've given it.
So that is Ellen Akpene Ziwu. She is the Solicitor General. Absolutely. Ghana has not yet rectified that. And even that, some of the judgment that have come, they have been able to honor them in all of that. But the challenge with the ECOWAS court, like I mentioned, is enforcement. Okay. Member associations, when judgment comes, it is not absolute. Because, like you heard the Solicitor General said, Ghana has not rectified that protocol so that everything from that court will be absolutely enforced. So it's a discretion. We want to attend to this one, we don't want to attend to this one and all of that. But I caught up with the head of Legal Services and Research Division of the ECOWAS Court, and Mr. Nketia Apreku. Let's hear him on the percentage rating within Ghana, the enforcement aspect of it.
Low enforcement rate, but I must say that it's not only peculiar to the ECOWAS courts. Regional courts, especially human rights mechanisms, face similar challenges globally. So it's not very peculiar to ECOWAS court. But coming home, I think we have about 30% enforcement rate, which is not the best. So when we get opportunity like this to train solicitors or attorneys, we try to bring home that also to them so that they speak to their government in order to enforce the judgment of the court. Because at the end of the day, if we engage in all this judicial enterprise and then the end product is not enforced, it becomes something that's like exercising futility, and that's why it's very important that all stakeholders come on board in order to get the judgments of the court enforced.
So that is the Apreku Nketia, head of Legal Services and Research Division of the ECOWAS Court. So he is the one leading aspect of the training section, which is expected to end tomorrow at the Alisa Hotel. So within the 4-day period, it is expected that when the attorneys are done, they will be experts on the field. They will be well equipped with the tools to be able to represent Ghana fairly at the ECOWAS court when decisions come. But really, Afoko is still on. Yes, so you ought to see Afoko
on that particular case.
Afoko in
judged for so long.
Yeah, it's in 10 years on, and the case is still. In fact, May 20th May will be exactly 10 years when the incident happened, and 21st May will be exactly 10 years when he was arrested, and all of that. he appeared in court, and this week, that's Monday, and when you see Afoko in court this time around, appearing in court because he has been granted bail, he's been admitted to bail in relation to, so the shots on your screen are when the day that he executed his bail conditions, all of that. But we've been speaking to him, asking him about the fact that how is life after you have been granted bail in all of that. Let's hear from Gregory Afoko.
It's not bad. I'm happy and family see. And I thank God that I'm not in jail. Honestly, I can't tell. Because from the onset, I have not committed anything. I have not committed a crime. But they still kept holding me for all these years, 10 years. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know what the judge will say.
So that is Gregory Afoko when he appeared in court in all of that. He said, I have done nothing. He's enjoying his bail. Now he's home. So he's enjoying the moment coming from home to court. You see him in his hammer hat and all of that. When he was in custody, he was not having that particular lifestyle and all
liberty,
of that. So he is still maintaining that he's done nothing wrong. He notes that the case, yes, prosecution's fourth witness is testifying. But what is happening currently is that the AG is looking into the matter again. So this case at the last court sitting has been adjourned. So we hope to see what the outcome or the determination will be in relation to this one. So Afoko is back in court, but the point is that the case has been adjourned to sometime in May in relation to that. So these were some of the things that happened. And today, I'm taking you to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Yes.
What's happening there?
The Supreme Court, because we know that within the last few days, the Chief Justice is in the news. It's in the news because of attention that has been drawn that 3 petitions have been received by the President, and that those 3 petitions seek her removal from office. She has requested for the petitions. They have been given to her. She has responded to them, and the President and his legal team are looking at the Council of State on standby and all of that. But when the matter came up, Vincent Asifo, a member of Parliament for Otafo, went to court, sued the Attorney General, and as part of his suit, he was also seeking an interlocutory injunction, seeking to stop the President from going ahead with processes. That particular case was earmarked for April 2nd, but when the day came, the case was adjourned to today. So today, it is expected that the Supreme Court will sit and deal with the issue of the interlocutory injunction. But many are asking already, one of the issues that he raised in that particular writ that he filed at the Supreme Court was that the President ought to have given the CJ the opportunity to comment or respond to the allegations in the petition, and from there, before Council of State, it is referred to Council of State and all of that. Now the CJ has responded to that. So the question is, does it render the case before the court moots or not? Today, we'll be at the Supreme Court to know what the pleasure of the Supreme Court will be. There are many who are asking, so who will be the panel members as we speak, who do not know? Who will be the chairperson of the panel that will sit on that particular case? For now, we do not know unless we get to court. And the Supreme Court sits at 9:30, so we hope that by 9:30 when the Supreme Court sits, we will know whether the case of interlocutory injunction will come on. And the former Attorney General is the one leading Vincent Asifo in relation to this one. Of course, the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, his deputy, Dr. Joseph Sai, will also definitely will come up in court to make this part or to hear.
It'll be an interesting
battle of wits.
Yes,
I guess.
in court today.
Absolutely.
What's also coming up? James Jachikwe is back in court.
Yes, James Jachikwe is back in court. So again, sometime last week, the state or the court was expected to make a determination on the submission of no case. Now, prosecution has closed their case. They called 6 witnesses, and the court is to determine whether there's a prima facie evidence for which reason James Jachikwe should be called upon to respond, or the court will have to find out after the closure of prosecution's case, no case or no sufficient evidence has been adduced to make a case for him to answer. So that is the determination that Justice Mary Mamiko Yenzu was expected to make at the last court sitting. But it didn't happen because prosecution filed further affidavit in support or disclosures in this matter to support their case. And the court had adjourned the case to today. So today, Justice Mary Yenzu is expected to make a determination of that. But at the last court sitting, Lily, I've been engaging James Yachikwesi himself, especially so because the case was adjourned. And he said, look, a week is not too long. Let's wait. Today, he'll be back in court. Let's hear from him.
We still have a week ahead of us, right? We're all anticipating everything will come to an end today. My friends, family, everybody. We had this ongoing for too long. And everybody seems to be tired of it. And so, but you know, there's a reason for everything that happens in life. So I'm so patient enough, but also still resilient to push through. 5 years I've gone through this. A week will make no difference, right? So it's gonna happen. I thank you guys for your time.
Yes, so this interview was at the last court sitting. So you heard him say next week, and that next week that he's talking about, it's today. So when the court finds that no prima facie has been established, James Yachikwesi will be discharged, go free. But if the court finds that there is prima facie evidence or prima facie evidence has been established, he will be called upon to file his witness statements and witnesses that he intends to call. Then he'll come and mount the witness box and open his defense. But his lawyers his lawyers led by Chachu Chikata, and he himself are hopeful that this case will not cross that threshold of submission of no case. They are hoping that today will be the day that the court will ask him to go home. So that is the expectation of what is happening today. So today, two big cases, James Yachikwesi and the Supreme Court matter involving in relation to the injunction seeking to stop the president on initiating processes to remove the Chief Justice.
Okay. All right, Captain. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Limo.
For that update.
And all the against the floor. Now we are seeing you. When they see us in town, they are smiling with us, but we know.
Yes, Bago. Thank you very much. That should do for court today. Let's look at what the newspapers are reporting this morning. Ghanaians salute Jakpa and team for arresting fugitive Nigerian businessman amid allegations of protection by former NPP government. Confusion rocks NPP as party executives shy away from Adjoa Safo and seek to hide their incompetence behind alleged scandal. Sam PLE is gone forever, Speaker Bagbin weeps as he pays emotional tribute to a comrade and a brother. We also send our condolences to his family. He was gas in our operations. Zoom Lion declares culture of silence and brute force under Mahama. 3 journalists arrested in 3 months, many houses raided. Minority 6 diplomatic assistants in Gran Canaria flights scandal. The Daily Analyst. Government pays $5 million for vaccines to diplomatic community over cocaine scandal. 30 armed soldiers raid Balmia's ADC's house. NDC admits Russian-Ukraine war affected economy. The Daily Graphic. Opioids abuse destroying nation's youth. Renowned psychiatric sounds alarm. TDC invites Iyoko to probe procurement breaches. Ghana Bauxite Company. 19 Russia-Ukraine war impact. Lands Commission tax to rebuild public trust. Minority petitions diplomatic community over alleged cocaine flights to Ghana. Trade investment at the heart of Commonwealth renewal. That's according to the Secretary General for the Commonwealth, very Honorable Shirley Ayekoboche. Ibrahim Mahama thinks of Nigerians road rage, guns and power play. That is so untrue. That is untrue. Czech president condemns U.S. tariffs on Ghana, others as unilateral and harmful. Yoko sniffs corruption at Ridge Hospital. Anyway, that would do. The new Crusading Guard, Gran Canaria flight scandal. Minority seeks the plans and the NPP. Allocatees traced to cemetery. GBC committed to environmental protection mining. That's Ghana Bauxite Company. Iyoko chases corrupt elements at Ridge Hospital. Zoomline does not engage land guards. That's it for the Inquisitor. Log on to starfm.com.gh to read more. That's it. I take a break here. When I return, you know it's Wednesday, right? It's Women Crush Wednesday. So I sit with women to discuss issues of national interest. Please stay tuned in. Welcome back to the show. This is Soje today here on GHOne TV. I am Lily Mohammed. It's now time for the breakfast review. And on the breakfast review this morning, I told you that on Wednesdays, it's an all-female ensemble. So my guests have taken their seats. I'm Apache's press secretary and spokesperson to the vice president, and Dr. GHOne is a member of the NPP communications team. She was the spokesperson health for the NPP 2024 manifesto. Good morning, ladies. I trust you're doing well.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
We are okay.
How's our vice president doing?
She's well. She's well.
Where is she? Where's our vice president?
She's in the UK.
She's in the UK. When was she taken to the UK?
I think that just so that we don't belabor the point and it doesn't become the point of conversation, the minister for presidential communications has issued, a statement
but you're the press secretary.
Sums it all up. I can tell you confidently that she's well, and give it a few days, maybe a few weeks, she'll be back home. And for me, that's all that's more important, at this point.
But what is wrong with our vice president? I'm sure Ghanaians
She's
would
well.
like to know. What is wrong with her? I mean,
She's well.
if our vice president cannot be at post for that long, then we ought to know. It is imperative that we as Ghanaians, because she swore an oath to all of us. So
Absolutely, which is why, the Honorable Felix Kwachofosu issued out, a communique in keeping, with the facts and with the truth that she's for all of us, So in the spirit of accountability, in the spirit of transparency, when she fell ill, which is what really the statement said, it was communicated to Ghanaians. It's been communicated to Ghanaians that she's doing well, which is the absolute truth. And for me, it's not an issue to go over and, she will be well, she'll be back, at post, and all of us will see it. So there's no, belaboring that point.
Is government communications trying to hide information from the ordinary Ghanaian? Because that is what it seems. I mean, right from when our vice president took ill, very scanty information. And I thought that for somebody who is the second person in charge of this country, we should have known at least more. Because if you say that the vice president is unwell, she's flown abroad, at some point we didn't know where abroad she was. And then now we're learning she's in the UK.
Lily, I'm surprised at scanty information.
Yes, that's very scanty.
Unless we want her temperature.
No. You see, we're
really surprised at scanty
asking that you tell us that, the vice president has headache and now she has a stomach ache. No.
But Lily,
initially, the communique said abroad. Why in abroad? This is the second woman of the country.
Absolutely.
The second most important person in Ghana. And Ghanaians didn't know where our vice president was. Imagine a school quiz and then we say, vice president, and say, my vice president's abroad. Really?
Lily, let's be fair. Let's be fair. I am sure that all of your questions are coming from a place of concern,
exactly,
and goodwill. Which of course is appreciated. I'm sure that Her Excellency herself, would appreciate how all of us are so interested and so concerned in her health and her well-being, which is why nobody hid anything. It could easily have been kept from Ghanaians. This is something that we could easily have shielded. Nobody would have known. Nothing would have. You know what I'm saying? But in the spirit, again, of accountability and of transparency, which is what this government is about, the information was given. All the facts were given. She's unwell, including even the hospital that she went to. That's how far we went with it. Some people have even, been upset by the fact that too much information was given.
The first pot of you gave us the first pot of call, but the subsequent ones you didn't tell us.
No, but I'm here telling you that she's well. I'm telling you now that she's well. Yesterday, the Honorable Felix Kwachofosu was on other media platforms telling everybody that she's well, and in a few weeks she's going to be back at post.
3 weeks, 2 weeks, a month.
3 weeks, let's say.
Max. Okay.
Let's say. It could even be, let's say 3 weeks.
Okay. We'll gladly be looking forward to our Vice President back in action. Wish her all the best, and we're praying that she comes back hale and hearty.
Amen.
There was a news article flying, before we come to our first topic, that the Vice President will be operating from the Osu Castle. Is that true?
It's news to me. I'm hearing this for the first time myself. I have no clue. Where is it coming from?
One of the newspapers reported it this morning. It's one of the news headlines I read.
Under what I mean, what was the source of the information? I need to know. If I'm relocating to somewhere else, I'm very interested, to know, but I'm hearing of this for the first time.
So it is not true.
I haven't heard.
Okay, so, well, you had it from the press secretary herself. That's the vice president will still be operating from the presidency. Let's look at our first topic for this morning. President Mahama says he's put a suspension on post-retirement appointments and contracts. I engaged a labor analyst yesterday who says this is welcome news. We have a lot of young people who are waiting to be employed. And so if we continuously keep the oldies, for want of a better expression, in active employment, then we're denying young people of being employed. Then there's the other leg of a conversation where we say these oldies have expertise. Why do we have to send them away when they can be there to guide the young ones into the spaces or the areas that they find themselves in? What do you think, Doc?
So I did see that as well, and funny enough, I just came across a post from Organized Labor just talking about the same thing that you were saying, that we'll lose experienced hands. I think in this matter, it's very important to balance it out and then try to get the best out of the situation. If you've been in the workforce till you're about 60, I mean, you've had a very long time to mentor people. And if you look at the sets of the show this morning, we're all young ladies. And if you look at what's going on, especially in Ghana, the young people are doing a lot of things. So you have till 60 to mentor people, impart knowledge, so that when you are at 60, you can then begin to take life slowly. People also don't see that this all has a dimension to your health. Because at 60, your body has been working day and night. When you go to bed, your body is still at it for 60 years. That's the time where it's ideal that you take things slowly and begin to taper down. But I do agree that in certain fields, there might be a need for some contract extensions here and there as we try to train the younger ones to be able to fill their shoes. So personally, I mean, I just hope that the president is able to follow through with this. Because, sometimes these communiques come out and then what happens in real life becomes a whole different story. So I just hope that he doesn't curtail to any pressure that he receives on this matter and he's able to see it through. As I said, I don't expect it to be a blanket
suspension.
Exactly. If in that field the person who is able to manage it best is going into retirement, then it does justify that you give the person a little extension so that they can then train the young ones. But we have to inculcate that into our society and our culture in Ghana to mentor people. I think
that is a very critical point.
Yeah, it's very important.
A lot of older people in the various sectors are not in tune with mentorship.
No, some of them will even compete with you. Yeah, so that becomes one of the problems. So that's why in a certain field, maybe the only person who is like an authority will be over 60. But if when you were coming up, you try to bring people along with you, it will not be a problem. And at that point, sometimes people just don't like to go and sit at home doing nothing. But at that point, there are so many universities now. You go and then you impart knowledge to the younger ones. That's something that's in my field that usually happens, because at 60, if you are working in a government facility, you will go home. But most of them then go to the schools and teach. They come to the wards and teach. So you are still in the environment of work, but it's a slow pace, and now you are focused on imparting knowledge. So if that's something we can duplicate across the sectors, I do think over time it would build our capacity as a nation, and also allow the older people to rest, because it's something that they need to rest.
I have to agree with the Dito. Dito, I feel the same way. We need to be intentional, about bringing the next generation to par, in terms of experience and skill. And there's a lot to be said for knowledge, there's so much to be said for knowledge. But there's so much more to be said for experience and skill. And experience and skill is something that you acquire through practice, through doing, something, over and over and over and over again. And it shows. When somebody has experience at a task, you can tell, that's how you build your confidence. That's how, so that we have to be more intentional, about passing down, some specific skill sets that experience will give you that, as we say in Ghana, book knowledge simply might not, give you. And so, yes, there's something to be said for, and there's something to be said for youth. I remember there was a time I used to put on my, my profile, that for whatever I lacked in experience or knowledge, I make up for it with enthusiasm, right? And that comes with age, it comes with vitality, it comes with newness, being refreshing, coming to it sometimes with a fresh perspective, a fresh set of viewpoints, a fresh set of, eyes. So there's something to be said for both. So if there's a way to balance both, such that we can get the best we can from our old hands, then it's helpful for all of us. However, what does the law say? At the end of the day, you go round, you think through it, you be logical with it, you try to sort of look for best practices and all of that. But it comes down to the law. I think the law is pretty explicit on this one. At a certain age, the law says go on retirement. That's what our law says, right? We have tried to sort of circumvent, and use home sense to, but the point is that there's a reason for that. There's a reason why our laws stipulate that at a certain age, you take life perhaps a little more easy, that you be well so that we can come to you when we need you every now and then. That is not to say that after the age of 60, people are old. Both of my parents are beyond 70. And I dare say, sometimes I even think they have more energy than I do. So there's something to be said for both. How do we ensure that perhaps once people hit the age of 55, we inculcate mentorship deliberately in our workspaces? How do we do that? How do we ensure that once we know that this person is almost due for retirement or has a few years before retirement, we actively and intentionally sort of pair with a younger person. So there's the handing, how do we call them? Handing down notes, handing over notes are done over a period of time. And it's more structured such that we all benefit, from their expertise and from their goodwill. I still think that there are some positions that people can still hold, after a certain age. There are some key positions within our field that necessitates experience, and those ones we can still look at. It can't be a blanket, one size fits all for all sectors and for all, workspaces. I have to agree with Akia. We have to be holistic, be wholesome with our approach. In some instances, yes, we need the old hands. In some instances, actually, we don't need newbies at all. There are some places that let's even come together. And it's a funny thing because Akia is a doctor. If I go to the hospital, and I'm dying, and you come at me trying to figure out where the tail end of the thermometer is. No. You're not doing that.
Like that.
No, I beg you. I appreciate your enthusiasm. I like your vitality. Sit down, right? So there's a case to be made for both, and if we could balance it, I think we could, accrue the benefits, of both ends of that conversation.
Okay, but there's also another school of thought that, okay, if we send all of them home, there are certain critical areas, like engineering, that you may need certain brains. So sometimes it is not the person coming to do manual work, but it is the accumulated experience to be able to solve certain critical decisions. Do we then have to start with governance and everything if we're looking at the age bracket?
When you say governance, do you mean like the executive?
Even political life.
That will bring it a lot of problems this morning. Because if you look at our political landscape, even across the world, it's a business of old people. Recently, I saw an article about the U.S. House of Legislature, the upper and lower house, and most of them, the U.S. one. So
okay. The Senate
and the House. A lot of them are very old. You see Nancy Pelosi with her stick and she's still going to Congress. So it looks like politics over time, for some reason, has evolved to be an older man's game. But in Ghana, I'm quite happy to see that is changing now. I'm very happy to see that is changing now. The party and the person that I worked with, the Dr. Baumia, is also very in tune and very intentional about bringing young people on board so that he can leverage on, as Amma said, the enthusiasm and the drive of a young person, because we do have a lot of energy. We have that urge to be able to try new things. The risk averseness of older people, we haven't developed it yet, and sometimes that can be very beneficial. So when it comes to politics, I mean, it's something that we will be fought on, but I do think, especially in Ghana, I'm seeing improvements. Like it's gradually changing. When you are given a role, nobody is going to be saying "We're saying" anymore, because you will get a lot of backlash. So I think slowly, even in our politics, we are evolving towards that. But if you were talking about engineering, you can be a consultant. You see, as Amma said, if you are at home and you're in good health and we need anything, we should be able to call on you. That's the advantage of having elders. So yes, if you are extremely distinguished in the field, if you go on retirement, it doesn't have to be the end of it. And I think that also would require intentionality from the younger people, so that when you get into a position, it doesn't become I know it all, and you deliberately lean on the people that walked that path before you.
Is it easy leaning on people who've already walked that path? Sometimes it's very difficult. I mean, when you're walking towards older people, they feel that
yeah, as I said, that's something that would have to change over time, and I do see that changing a bit now. Now there are more and more younger doctors. So Amma, unfortunately, you experience that when you go to the hospital and you see someone very, very small, and they will be able to do the task. So now more and more younger people are coming in, because we made the residency free. People start at 27 and cool, and before you would be almost 40 before you even consider it. So gradually it is improving. So I
think that a lot of young people are being interested in certain professions. Before it was a 40 for older folks. If you want to enter certain professions, law, medicine, even politics, people think that it's a retirement plan.
Yes, especially
politics is a retirement plan. For medicine, people think that, you need to be a certain age, certain intellect. But now, a lot of young people are going into it. Now, law, a lot of young people are going into law. So I think that there's a certain paradigm shift. But do we have to start now, this particular suspension, Amma? Can't we do gradually?
So, I mean, it's a suspension. It's not an end. It's not an abrupt end to everything. I believe that it's a start of that conversation, and we are all having that conversation. I would differ slightly on politics being a retirement plan, only to say that I think there are some specific sectors that institutional memory becomes very important. And politics, for instance, would be one of those spaces. It would be one of those spaces that you need to understand the nuances of an issue, the backstory of an issue, ideology. It's deep. It's a reflective space, and sometimes it's experience, which of course comes with age, that gives you, the kind of gravitas that is needed, to handle public spaces. So, I mean, again, not to sound like a broken record, there's a place for both. There's definitely a place for both. If the younger person is coming at the tax from a place of confidence, from a place of knowledge, then absolutely, and I'm going back to the doctor experience, doctor example, right? But if it's from a place of the lack thereof of all of these, then that becomes a challenge. What am I saying? I'm simply saying that there's a place for both. There's definitely a place for both. I have to, again, I'm agreeing again with both of you. You can't have a one-size-fits-all approach to an issue such as this. Politics. You can't say
if President Mahama says he's suspending, then the IGP should go, no? He's over 60.
We are belaboring the point.
No,
we are blaming the point. I think I've made the point over and over and over again.
No, I am
that
not.
You can't be blanket with it.
No, but
that point has been made.
There's a communique to that effect that we're suspending all over 60 appointments
in very specific sectors, right? It didn't say across board. You cannot come to, and let me use Pan African TV or GHOne TV and say I'm suspending you because I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. It can't cut across. We are starting from somewhere, and there's a reason for it. I've already told you there's law. The law is essentially what guides, our behavior, our conduct, and more importantly, governance. If you don't govern with the law, what do you have? Then there's recipe for disorder, right? So the law is pretty explicit on this one, that at this age, you go on retirement in this sector. So all this communique seeks to do is to uphold the law. But there's conversation to be had. We've already sort of spoken ourselves hoarse on the fact that you cannot have it across board. You have to be more holistic in how you approach it. It cannot apply to every sector. It cannot apply to every workspace. And once we come at it with that balance and appreciation, I think we can make headway.
Okay, let's talk about this Ahmed and alleged cocaine and Gran Canaria saga. We have seen a communique from the Ghana Airports Company Limited. If my producers can put it up, I'll also try and read it here. There's a press statement from the Ghana Airports Company Limited, and I read: the attention of the management of Ghana Airports Company Limited has been drawn to media publications making false allegations concerning the involvement of Ghana Airports Company Limited officials in passing false information to one Reverend Ntim Fojo, who has made allegations of drug trafficking regarding 2 aircrafts landing. Onus is on the groups or individuals making false allegations to provide evidence of same. Why does the tone of the statement suggest that somebody's trying to protect their jobs? Doc, let me start with you.
Lily, this matter is been brewing for some time, and every time a representative of the government or the member of the NDC steps out to say something about it, it just makes it worse. So
how so?
Initially, it started as just a suspicion. This is a cocaine hub. Why is an air ambulance coming from a cocaine hub empty, without a patient, coming to Ghana, staying here for a while, going back without a patient? It's suspicious. That was all. Then everyone comes up to attack the integrity of Reverend Ntim Fojo, who is just doing his job as ranking member of defense. And as ranking member per the MPP's convention, he's the spokesperson of the committee. So he has every right to come and give a press conference every day if he sees so, if he sees fit.
Defense and Interior Committees is a very sensitive committee.
Lily, we were here when the Honorable Minister of Health was a ranking member. We gave a financial clearance for nurses to be employed. Just immediately, he had a press conference to tell the nurses essentially it's a scam, they shouldn't apply. So when we talk about how people misuse their authority in Parliament, I don't think this comes anywhere close. And he had every legitimate right to do that. This is what I want to put on the table. And you see, he also issued a letter to have a joint committee with the various agencies in charge. It hasn't been honored or up to date. So if he didn't bring it into the public for all of this to come out, it would just have been swept under the rug. And if you look at every communique that comes from first, why is it Honorable Felix Ofosu-Kwakye who is talking about this matter? Is he the spokesperson for NIB? If just think about it, if we are a legitimate, we're a republic, we are very interested in the image, we are interested in fighting drug trafficking as a country. If someone blows the alarm that, this thing looks suspicious, the best thing to do is the first communique that came out from the president to say that we investigate this matter. Then investigate it. If that's what you truly want to do, you want to get to the bottom of the matter, you investigate it and then you bring us the details. So and so and so. But you don't immediately come out and yes, Reverend Ntim Fojo is perpetuating falsehood, blah blah blah, attacking the person of the man. Then you bring information out that is just fraught with inconsistencies. Because I do have here, we've done a search on the the routes of the two flights that are involved. I'm not even talking about the CAVOC, the two Ahmed flights. And it's very interesting. The first one came from Gran Canaria to Kotoka. Then from Kotoka to near Luanda, which is Angola. That is the part that Honorable Felix Ofosu-Kwakye spoke about. Then it went to another location in Angola, somewhere in South Africa, all over the place, comes back to Kotoka and goes to Gran Canaria. So if you look at this flight path, it doesn't look like it was going somewhere and developed a problem or stopped for rest. It does look like the destination of the flight was to Ghana. So why did it not have any patients? These are very legitimate questions that if they were taken seriously and an attack on the person of the whistleblower wasn't the focus of the matter, it would have been much easier. But the way it's handled just makes the whole thing smell. Everybody's just smelling a rat with the situation because of how much resistance has been met on this matter. I also want to talk about the CAVOC and the videos and pictures that were also released from the spokesperson, the presidential the government communicator. We do like a reverse AI search of the image, and we come to know that these images were not even taken this year. So the more information comes out and the more is rebutted, the more inconsistencies we see, and that is very alarming. That gives more credence to the allegations. And what are they doing about this whistleblower? And for me, it's all very funny. This is a government and a party that came on the back of oral. They wanted people to turn into whistleblowers, but when a whistleblower comes out, the first thing is to deploy the entire NDC machinery to tear down the personality of this person. I mean, how does that even sit well with them? And to the letter that we just read from the Ghana Airports Company, I'm from what is written, I'm beginning to believe that some allegations were probably made against the woman.
Ghana Airport
yes, that they were leaking the information. But a lot of these things that we brought out are things that you don't even need to have any kind of link with the airport. It's public knowledge. You can. Even on social media recently, there was this guy who got famous for just tracking Elon Musk's plane around the country. So the flight data of most airlines are public knowledge. If it's not a matter of national security, if it's not a CIA plane or Air Force One or something, you can check on your phone and then you see it. So this is verifiable data that we require proper answers to, especially coming from the government of oral, who just not a few months ago were telling us about the Whistleblowers Act and what's not. And yesterday I see another, I think is the MD or the boss of NACOG saying authorities. It's not like they search the plane and
because I'm not sure they have the mandate. It's Ghana Civil Aviation Authority.
Who does that? Yes. So how are you?
It's Ghana Civil Aviation Authority.
Who does that? Yes. So how are you telling us on authority that there was no illegal substance? This whole thing just started by both GHOne, GHOne News, and all of that. So that intelligence gathering, that's the limit to what he had or what he put out first. Then the rest becomes, so what was on the plane? So that is what he cannot or has not come out to categorically say, that I'm hitting my chest to say that this is what was on the plane. But to say that these flights came from these locations and moved around suspiciously for a while without any patience, that is what is intelligence gathered. And if the government was serious about this and they were not looking to turn the country into a cocaine coast, the first thing to do would be to allow the relevant agencies to investigate the matter properly. But no, that was not done. Immediately it became a battle of words and between the opposition and the majority. And we are all looking out for the image of Ghana. We all want the best of the country. We all don't want to be painted with that cocaine country thing, because you travel, you don't want to be put into more scrutiny by TSA when you get to the US just because you are now from a very high risk country and all of that. So both sides should have been very interested in this matter to get to the bottom of it, and it shouldn't have been turned into politics. But sadly it was, and since it has gone that tangent, we will hold their feet to the fire till they prove to us that there was nothing there. Because again, Lily, just think of, how can you tell us that it's like an ambulance drives to your house? It's not like it was going anywhere. It just drives purposely to your house. a car that's fitted as an ambulance, empty to your house, moves from your house empty to the hospital. What did they come to do there? That's a very valid question that nobody has answered. All the tweets that the Honorable Felix Ofosu-Kwakye has put out, including calling the Reverend Ntim Pojo a clown for just doing his job, did not include an explanation for why there was no patient, whether to come here, whether to go. The second flight that came was also an air ambulance. One air ambulance is what brought the required spare parts for the. I mean, all of it doesn't really hold water, and he just ignores the most crucial part of the whole allegation, which is why was the plane here? I don't know if you've heard an answer for that, but I have been following the matter closely, and that's the part that interests me, and I haven't heard an answer for that. It's about we gave them landing permits. Of course, any plane that's coming into your jurisdiction will require landing permits before it lands. These are like very, I don't know, procedural things. So nobody was coming against the procedure with which the plane arrived in this country. We are saying, what was the purpose of this plane? And the Honorable Ntim Pojo has said that he has also intercepted the maintenance logs and all of this for all the aircrafts involved. And so I can tell you that this week is going to be very interesting, because the mistake that I would say the government spokesperson made was put so much on record, so much that he cannot verify, so much that have been proven to be lies. And so the more we bring out incontrovertible evidence that, okay, no, you said this was the problem. And the aviation industry is an industry that keeps meticulous records. It's almost like hospital. They keep meticulous records. So if you say it was an oil leakage and the tire, blah, blah, it will be documented somewhere. So if the Honorable Ntim Pojo brings out this information and it does not match, then you have another problem. All you could have done, if your hands were clean, was to leave this matter for the relevant agencies. But because you have something to hide, that's why you keep, it's like he's now in quicksand, and the more he tries to move, the deeper he sinks.
Amma,
I am I don't even know what to say. Like I'm lost for words, literally. I'm looking at Ekia speak and I don't know where to start. Ekia says what? Evidence. Which evidence has the Reverend given? She says lies. What is it that the Minister for Communications has said that has been found to be false? Now, let's start from the very top. You have a member of parliament, unprovoked. You know how those Instagram memes we do and we say no one, then there's behavior you simply can't explain. This is what this is. Unprovoked and nothing. He just wakes up one day, calls a press conference and gives us facts. Facts that Ekia says has been proven. What are the facts? That some planes landed in Ghana. Are you kidding me? That's the fact. That's the evidence that planes landed. That's the beginning and the end of his facts.
These planes were air ambulances. And according to the Reverend, they came in without patients, left without patients.
Absolutely. That's exactly what happened. Nobody's refuting that. Those are facts. I mean, my goodness. It's like me saying that Lily came to work this morning. And so Lily is at Metro TV selling tomatoes. I have given you facts. There is evidence backed by GHOne TV, backed by TV, backed by. Of course Lily came to work today. Is that fact and evidence? That flights landed? Are we kidding? So, excuse me. Are we serious? That's the beginning and the end of your facts. And then everything else you say is conjecture. You are called upon to bring the evidence. And you say, I gave you facts, and so now go and investigate what I have said. Are we serious? Now, Ekia says that he didn't speak about cocaine. Not only did he speak about cocaine, it's different if you say, I suspect, which in itself is problematic. You can't wake up one morning and say that because some flies landed in Ghana, they are carrying cocaine, and say, I suspect. That by itself, and this is not just any whistleblower, this is the member of a parliament
Who is a ranking?
paid.
So he's a spokesperson on the Defense and Interior Committee.
I mean,
he says suspected items believed to be
your
cocaine
responsibility?
and amount of money
where is the
believed to be in US
responsibility?
dollars.
And it gets even more shameful. You don't only say, hello Ghanaians, I am just speculating. You speak about intelligence gathering. Which intelligence gathering? Where? From where to where? Right? And he doesn't leave it there. I'll read you a few of his tweets subsequently, since that press conference. When cocaine and money laundering activities are exposed and questioned, you expose your emotional connections to these transactional crimes, shield cocaine cartels and money launderers from prosecution, and results to insults. So not only did he call a press conference on the issue, he has gone ahead, and from when he called that press conference, every single tweet of his has alleged, categorically stated, that there was cocaine and money laundering involved. The next tweet after this one, cocaine are buying spokesperson. Next one, then he goes on. The next tweet after that. Okay, so this is another ridiculous one. When he accuses a host of a TV station of fabricating, so that's the next tweet. I'm not even going to that one. I think they will deal with it, It goes on and on and on and on and on. Anansi's story by cocaine are buying everything. Cocaine are buying spokesperson. And this is just his suspicious expose. You see, the most interesting thing for me is how he himself, by himself, wants to sensationalize the issue, right? Look at this one. He says, suspicious Gran Canaria flight expose part 1. Stay tuned for the series, right? Then he himself, he says it's going to be explosive. Oh, Reverend. I mean, listen. it's unbelievable, right? And for me, the more we talk about this issue and the more we sort of debate the issue, it gives it a certain oxygen that I can't deal with. Coming here, I was hoping that this was not going to be one of those issues. I just want us to have some finality, right? You are claiming that there was cocaine and the flight is also being used for money laundering. Come and prove it. Now you're saying, let the person I'm accusing rather come and prove it. And where does this work? How does this work? Then suddenly you are jumping on your immunity, your parliamentary immunity, and saying that you can't be questioned. Now you're a whistleblower, so you can't be questioned. It's as if any Ghanaian can wake up tomorrow and say that there's a car at the presidency. That car contains cocaine. Prove it. Even in the face of every evidence that is telling you that this is not true. Honestly, I think that the Honorable Felix Ofosu-Kwakye is carrying transparency to new heights. He is taking the trouble, right? It's like of all the things he has to deal with, he is taking the trouble of breaking down the issues one after the other, explaining when the flight landed. And look at this logic. It's almost as if we are saying that flights don't refuel. Flights don't develop faults. Every time a flight moves, it has to be carrying out its core function. It cannot move but to carry out its core function. And so because it has moved and it's not about its core function, there's cocaine involved.
Okay, so let me give you a reply from Ahmed. We actually sent an email to Ahmed, and Ahmed responded. And this is the response. On March 20, 2025, Ahmed International Aircraft N8238 AM departed the United States for a scheduled international patient transport. As part of the planned flight path, the aircraft made multiple stops for fuel, including a stop at Kotoka International Airport in Ghana. It goes on to say, upon landing in Ghana, the aircraft experienced a maintenance issue, 2 blown tires that required replacement. No patient was on board at the time. To address the mechanical issue, a second aircraft was dispatched with the necessary replacement parts, supplies, and 2 maintenance technicians. Over the next several days, repairs to aircraft N823AM were completed, and give me a second, and it returned to the US on March 25, following standard protocols and the required rest period for the flight crew. On its return flight, N8283AM made a planned fuel stop at Gran Canaria Airport. We will fully cooperate in any official inquiries into N823AM's presence in Ghana. We are confident that flight documentation and mission details will clearly demonstrate that the air-med aircraft was not engaged in any illicit or illegal activities. Thank you. So that's global medical response.
It gets worse, really, where I've seen that, an interview that was granted, an official, and the official simply expressed a sentiment of, if there's an allegation, let's probe. Suddenly, that general commentary that any of us would make, I would say the same thing, right? Considering the standing of Reverend Intim Fojo. I mean, if an allegation comes from quarters like that, I would expect that it would have, at the very least, some merit. At the very least. And so I would say that, of course, let's probe into it. But does me saying let's probe into it now become the evidence that there's a wrongdoing? Just because you interview someone, the person says, this allegation is being made, then let's probe into it. Suddenly that becomes the evidence that is being used that something has gone amiss. Listen, not to sound exasperated this morning, this is the height of irresponsibility. When we talk about government oversight, this is not it. It's not taking the whole country on a wild goose chase simply because you can. And simply because there's a government that indulges you, because it wants to be transparent and accountable. This is irresponsibility at its peak, right? And every time you call upon him to give evidence, he says, I'm being attacked. My person is being attacked. What did he expect? You would accuse the government. And you see, the MPP needs to understand that when you go into opposition, your task is not to destroy the country because you are in opposition. There are far-reaching consequences for all of us in this country with some of these games. And Equia herself speaks to some of them, right? All of the day-to-day, everyday lived experiences, repercussions that all of us will have because of utterances, irresponsible utterances such as this. Now, when you ask him to come and validate his claims, you are attacking him. That's an attack. Meanwhile, he has attacked a whole, government machinery. He's attacked other agencies. He's impugned the whole integrity of this country and every Ghanaian in the process. And that's okay. Because somehow he can, in the name of I'm a whistleblower, in the name of I'm a parliamentarian, it's irresponsible. The least I would have expected. Now let's take it back just a little bit. In the past, when people have called press conferences, asking questions or detailing criminality, at the very least there's evidence. You can take it back to every single accusation that was made in the past. Every single one. The one that I myself took part in was the demonstration, this one about the hotels. At the end of the day, was it not vindicated? You don't just wake up in the morning one day. It's unbelievable. You just wake up one day. You know that some flights have landed. And so because of that, because the flight did not carry what it's supposed to do, it did not do its core mandate, then it must contain cocaine and it must be used, be in the process of being used for money laundering. And carry all of us around. So for over a week, all of us are discussing this. Who else will communicate for the presidency but the spokesperson? Who do we want to communicate? Who else? The man is doing his job. He's brought you every evidence that you need. He's brought pictures, he's brought videos. Now we are saying that even the videos are problematic. They are not current. Ekia, can you please furnish us with exactly when these videos were taken? What time these... Give us... It's like no information is coming from the NPP on this matter. It's just casting aspersions at the evidence that is given. Every time you give evidence, they say, no, this evidence is not right. It's not true. This video is not new. It's old. Can you be more specific? When was the video taken? Who took the video? For what purposes? Give us your counter evidence. Let's see who is lying.
I'm sure she'll give us
Let's see who is lying. And it is this ridiculousness that is baffling me this morning. You keep asking for information. Information is given to you. Then you say it's not true. Meanwhile, you won't prove how it's not true. You just say that it's not true. And somehow, for you, that's being a whistleblower. That's being accountable. Listen, perhaps the NPP needs to understand what time it is. We are all handling this really differently, right? Some of us might have, because we are giving it oxygen that it doesn't need. Come here. Come and prove your point. Come and prove your evidence. Come and prove your facts. Then we can move on. For me, that's where we've gotten to. Because the more we entertain, and because this seems like an unending circle of giving information, giving evidence, and every time you do that, they say it's not true. Meanwhile, it's just worse. It's not true. Why is it not true? How is it not true? Nothing is proved. Nothing is concretely said. It's like, let me keep poking the bear. And for as long as we keep poking the bear and having the conversation, it sort of gains some credence and it gains some energy. It gains some believability, right? There's a true saying that truth is like a bell. The more you keep ringing the bell, it sticks. And people start to think, wait a minute, is there something here? There's nothing here. Absolutely nothing here. But we are giving it oxygen. And if in good faith, if the Reverend Intim Fodro has good faith for this country, let's him prove his allegations. Simple. How do you know that there's cocaine? Okay. Bring the evidence. How do you know that there's money laundering involved? Bring the evidence. Okay. Then let's keep it moving. But this, let me just call it kwani. This kwani that we are doing with facts, and glorifying in it, it's almost as if it's his moment under the light. I'm going to produce an expose. Tomorrow I'm going to be here. It's going to be explosive. The next day I'm going to be on that station. Follow me for the... Come on.
I don't think Amma truly watched that expose part 1. It was with the
expose part 1.
Yes, so part 2 will be coming. I don't think he watched it because it was damning. So if the honorable ranking member has credible intelligence to believe that those flights were used for purposes other than what they were supposed to, and so he's asking questions, firstly, let's not change around and behave like there's a problem with that. We were in this country when Honorable Ablakwa was alleging every day he would wake up on his bed
with evidence,
and so why has it not been proven now?
Every single one has been proven.
That's not true. He was even asked at Burton, when you accuse Nana Akufo-Addo's, His Excellency, his daughters of buying state lands, did you have any evidence? Was it true? He said he was asking a question because that was not true. It came out that those lands were bought long ago, even before the matter came up. There was another issue about transport of some...
We haven't concluded on that again.
Of currency. So now that you guys are... He's in front of the vetting committee, and you were saying that they were...
Did the company not tell you why the plane was here?
Unless you didn't get the inconsistencies in Honorable Felix Ofusu-Kwakye's statements. He's your boss, so I understand the need to stand by him this morning. But on this matter, he's sinking faster than he can swim out. Because he said the plane came from Luanda. If you have this video, you can play it. He said the plane came from Luanda to Ghana and they came because they needed to do a certain test that was not available.
But the itinerary suggests otherwise, actually.
Yes, which has been fact-checked, that the plane did not originate from Luanda. So if you have nothing to hide, and we are just coming up with stories. And let's not forget, just in this same month, there has been so many cocaine busts. I don't even think in my whole adult life I've heard so much news on cocaine. And one involves the parliamentary candidates of the NDC somewhere in the central region, involving about 150 million busts.
Okay, do you want us to do this? No, do the number of political party appointees who are involved in cocaine.
In there. I'm just saying that it's on the back of all of this that someone, and look at the person that is coming to say, do you really think that the Honorable Ntimpojo needs attention that much that he would need to do this without it having any backing? He knows he's going to be attacked viciously by the NDC, because when it comes to attacking and trying to tear someone apart, no one is as effective as you guys. That one I'll give it to you. He knows the kind of opposition he was going to meet, but he decided to essentially sacrifice himself to bring this matter to light, and it's not being taken as serious as it should from the government. It has just turned into
I'm wondering, I don't know if you know whether his intelligence was provided to the national security.
He asked for a joint meeting. It has not been honored.
No, but that was after a press conference.
Yes, after a
but
press
you know, the mandate of the Defense and Interior Committee is to thoroughly scrutinize, provide oversight on matters pertaining on national and internal affairs. And they are supposed to work in tandem with the various agencies. Why do you come out to say these things without first going to the various security agencies? This is a matter of national security.
Exactly. When we make laws in this country, or we have conventions, or how things should be done, we would all attest to the fact that sometimes the way things are truly done is quite different from how it should be done.
But because national security is not... it's not a Kuku and Kosi matter.
I hope we can begin to see that national security in this country is not a Kuku and Kosi matter, because the honorable ranking member called for this joint task force about a week ago.
No, you said about a week ago.
No,
yes.
So
when did he call for it?
He did. After his press conference.
Yes,
you are ranking on a committee. You are ranking on a committee with a chairperson. You are in Parliament. You have access to the Interior Minister. You have access to the Defense Minister.
So you know that he has probably brought this up at the committee level.
He did not. Before the press conference, we have engaged the chairperson. He did not.
Okay, that's fine. So he had the press conference, and then he brought out this request for a joint committee. Has that request for the leaders of the joint committee to meet him, has it been met?
Well,
of course not. I can tell you on authority, it has not been met. So the only way to go about his grievances is to put it in the public. And as I just said, I've mentioned
to the public even before.
It's fine. I've just mentioned to you here what Honorable Okujeto Ablakwa did. They set the tone for this kind of thing, putting it in the public. Honorable Sam George.
Revenge?
It's not revenge. It is not revenge. This is a very serious matter.
They set the tone
for press conferences. And as I said, as the spokesperson, you see, when someone is doing something,
at one point, what somebody was very vociferous, like Kennedy Ohene Japan on the Defense and Interior Committee, and we never saw him.
He didn't have a strong suspicion that the country was being used to transport cocaine so confidently. See, when you even look at this, that's why I was asking Amma if she watched the first video. One of the flights that the government is insisting has left the jurisdiction is still parked at Kotoko at the time of when he was doing the expose. So there are so many issues, and the honorable member has every right to issue a press conference. If you say that it is illegal, or there was a gag order in place saying that nobody from the defense committee can have a press conference, and he breached that is absolutely fine. But there's no such thing there. So all we are doing, or all what people are doing, is saying that, oh, you should have done this, you should have done. But he has every right to handle the matter the way he sees fit. And if he didn't bring it out this way, trust me, it would have been swept under the rag. Nothing would have come of it. But there are very serious questions to be answered here. It's not a matter of a joke. A whole government spokesperson sits down, puts a camera in front of him, and then the statement he brings out is fraught with inconsistencies that we've already brought up right now. I've just told you the origin of the flight was not Luanda, as he said. So you can play the video so that as soon as he's done, we'll do the search and then see if it was like that. Nobody is talking about that. Why were they here? Because if you are saying that there was a problem and they needed to be fixed for the EU market, that's why they had to go into Angola. Then we do a search and we realize that now the airport in Luanda is capable of carrying out that search. So then that part of your statement is false. If you say that was the origin and it came here and we searched and no, the plane came from Gran Canary, that's another inconsistency right there. And these are not small things.
It started from the US.
No, by our flight tracking, we don't even see that I don't know at what dates, because we would have to go back and do that tracking. The beginning of the tracking is from Gran Canaria, and it's not like it is coming from Portugal or something. This is a place that is known for this kind of thing. And the Honorable Ntim Fodjo has decided to bring out this information at his own pace, and he's entitled to it. So let's wait till the end. The only kind of evidence that will suit the NDC, instead of them to do their job as the government of Ghana at this point to investigate this matter and clear all doubts from the international community, no, they've turned it into a trying to protect themselves affair. Why? Because they are complicit.
No. Let's
President Mahama brought out a statement saying that the defense, the relevant organizations should meet the Honorable Ntim Fodjo to get to the bottom of it. That investigation was not even allowed to go on before Felix Ofosu-Kwakye came out with his video. The video that was brought out to misinform Ghanaians, because we have just pointed out so many inconsistencies in that video. And for me, the worst of it is that video of the Kavok airplane that was released, which happens that it was not that plane. That was not the plane. A picture of the Air Med flight has a different tail number. So why are you going to such extreme lengths to try and obfuscate matters if you are on the right side of this matter? It is as simple as that. Why are you showing us pictures of another plane to try and dissuade the public that you are doing the right thing, if you are not trying to hide something? It's as simple as that. Why is the Kavok air flight, the last one, why is it still here? No, you can put it up and then zoom it up. You know, right now, and I'm quite pleased by what happened on social media and everything.
Is that what happened?
I don't even follow directly what the Reverend Ntim Fodjo is saying, but somebody would just look at it, and everybody has become a social media sleuth. Everybody is a CID now. And you can, so I hope you can put it up. Let's see if the tail number is actually because you had a message from Ahmed. Is the tail number what it is? No, it is completely different. So why does it look like Mama Ghana for? Because that's exactly what you are doing. There's so many inconsistencies, and it shouldn't be so. You are talking about let me read what Felix Ofosu-Kwakye tweeted at Reverend Ntim Fodjo. And now, let me just put it out. Now it has become acceptable language in politics. If you upset me and I cannot find any civil words, I will call you a clown. This is what he wrote. Oh, you take a screenshot and now you can. He said Osofo Moko and he tagged him. This is Felix Ofosu-Kwakye's Twitter. Osofo Moko at Ntim Fodjo. What a clown.
Osofo Moko. Say it well. It's not Osofo Moko. It's Osofo Moko.
So Amma has said this well. What a clown. Because the man, if we decided to be calling everybody, do you know the kind of names we would have come up for the Honorable Sam George and what? And all of this is because it's like we fought hot water.
Why are you opening Sam George?
In trying to expose how you are trying to turn this country into a transit area for cocaine. I've even heard people speculate that it's because of that so much money you spend during the campaign, you need to repay your financiers. So, but we will not allow you. We will not allow you to turn this country into.
Also spend money during the campaign.
This is something that during the campaign I personally said. I said for a party that has been in opposition for 8 years, they are very well financed. I said this during the campaign, looking at the things they were doing. They were dashing cars when we were dashing phones.
Do you have evidence to back that they are well financed? Did you see stashes of money being?
No, I'm not saying stashes. I'm just saying based on what I saw on the campaign trail, like for their communications directorate. This is what I saw, and I made that joke.
You saw it here.
No,
you saw.
Yes, you can even go on your the cars. Look at Sami Jamfi was giving cars to the communicators.
But do you mean where the cars came from?
Let's see. Let me make my point. I was saying that it looked. The statement I said was it looked like they were well financed. You're asking me what made me think that because when their directorates of communication was giving out cars, we were given cell phones. I was going on here. You know, how are these people after 8 years? They are able to do this and we are not able to match. Anyway, that's just by the way. And I don't even think I'm the only person that has brought this. Because again, just come and explain. If this matter was left, just narcotics control, come and find out what's actually happened. It would have gone to bed, but you resorted to calling him Osofo Meko, you resorted to calling him a clown, you came to lie with videos that were different, you came to lie with pictures that were doctored, so many inconsistencies, and every time you talk, the problem gets worse. So just come clean at this point. Whatever happened to the cocaine and the money, just come clean and we can move forward.
Do you see the way Ikea ended? Whatever happens to the cocaine and the money, just come forward, right? You see what I said about truth being like a bell, where we'll keep ringing it and make it stick and make it the issue. Again, I reiterate, in all of this conversation, there's been no evidence, only assumptions, fantasies, I think, which is exactly what Ikea said. I think they zoomed the picture. Is that evidence? You think?
No, I
think they zoomed the picture.
I said the
That's
tail
your
number.
Answer.
No, I said the
That's
tail
your
number
answer
on that
saying
flight
that
was
zoomed in and it reflected different.
Yes, and it
That's what
doesn't
she
match.
Listen. Maybe we don't understand the consequences of our action. In our hurry, in our unhealthy haste to paint the government black and make this government look guilty of an imaginary crime, we don't understand the repercussions for this nation that we all claim we love. And for me, that's the danger of all of these things that we are doing, right? Every time the NDC speaks with facts. And the NDC is not speaking to its facts. The specific agencies that are put in charge of specific things speak, they conduct their investigations, they give the facts. The spokesperson for presidency communications comes and reiterates these facts. The NPP will come and say, I think we suspect now the basis for saying that the NDC spends a lot of money is because the NDC provided a pickup per region for campaign. Is that the arguments we are having this morning here? That's how you know that a political party spent so much money during the campaign, because they gave one pickup to every region, a campaign pickup per region. Is Ikea telling me that the MPP did not have at least a pickup per region for its campaigns? What are we talking about here? What are we doing? Perhaps the MPP doesn't understand that opposition comes with responsibility too. It's almost as if we are just talking, casting aspersions, just saying things, I call it pay as you go, right? And then in hopes that once we keep that conversation going, once we keep moving from TV station to the next TV station, glorifying in the lights and the cameras that it affords us, putting it out, expose part 1, expose part 2, it's about to happen. And then we've turned this whole thing into some ridiculousness where we are literally measuring the distance the plane moved from the... When do we get to the cocaine and the money laundering? Thank you for all of your intelligence gathering on what planes do. Thank you for all of your intelligence gathering on every plane that will land on the shores of this country. We appreciate your efforts. Keep it going. When do we get to the evidence around the cocaine and the money laundering, which is what this issue is? Yeah. There's no debate about whether planes landed in Ghana. Everybody says, yes, it happened. There's no conversation as to the core mandates of those flights. Everybody knows what those flights are supposed to do. Everybody knows that is not what they came here to do. Everybody has accepted those basic facts. The Honorable Fellowship spoke to those facts. The companies themselves have come out and said, yes, we did not come to Ghana with medicals. We came to refuel in some instance. We came to fix, our tires. Those are baseline facts. When you say these things, that's not giving evidence. That has nothing to do with nothing. Now, please, what's outstanding today is not whether the flight left Rwanda or it's left Tunisia. Cocaine and money laundering. When do we get to proving that? When? I've had it with the distance it's moved from point 1 to point B. I'm sure tomorrow, in the next expose part, maybe 3, he's going to tell us that the pilot was wearing blue and not green. Okay, thank you. Maybe the next expose, he will say the flight had 6 people, didn't have 4. The Honorable Fellowship said there were 4 people on the flight. No. Our checks and our intelligence indicate that there were 8 people. Thank you very much. Keep it going. When do we get to cocaine and money laundering? That is the heart of this matter. Cocaine and money laundering. And I hope that all of you, okay, yourself included, who go around communicating on this matter and stating it categorically are ready for the repercussions. I pray that all of you are ready for that repercussions, because you cannot accuse a government of money laundering and being involved in cocaine and hope that when the dust settles, you will just walk out again under the lights and the cameras of TV stations. It's time for some responsibility. And who else should we demand responsibility from but from people like members of parliament and ranking members on? Are you serious? The levels at which the MPP is descending, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. So is this the opposition the MPP is going to give us in the next coming years? You see, and if that's not the only person I've heard say this, they've all said, oh, but it happened, in the past. The Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa also called for press conference and did this. When we also do it, when you are copying, you copy well. But in the past, we also saw that when you are copying well to fly to some of these countries to give us evidence of the things that he said. So are we in that as part of the expose? Are we going to see Reverend GHOne and Timfojo fly to, let's say, Gran Canaria to look at flights that fly there, stashed with cocaine and money?
Lily,
is that something?
Lily, this is a very serious matter.
No, but
I'm just saying that you cannot. Even Colombia and Mexico and co that are fighting a drug war, how easy is it to go and do that? And I cannot speak for him on that matter. What I can speak for is the inconsistencies he has already brought up and what he has planned to also bring forward. And this on its own,
the inconsistency he has pointed out.
Yes, and then what he plans to bring, they are not simple inconsistencies. If you say the plane came from here and it did not come from here, then why did it come? These are very serious questions. Amma hasn't answered it, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye hasn't answered it, and all of that goes on and on and on. There are so many issues about this that they just think. And no amount of threatening us or is going to help us, is going to, no amount of threats, not just from you, from everybody else. I just told you about the National Security, Narcotics Control Board. I saw a flyer of him saying that he will arrest. You have to arrest all of us. You have to arrest all of us because you have to answer for these things. Why was the plane? It's a very legitimate question. If we have, we feel, or that we have evidence to suggest that these planes were suspicious and may have been used for these things. If the plane was coming from Portugal or the plane was coming from the UK, do you think we'll be having the same conversation? When you do a simple Google search on Gran Canaria, what comes out? If the plane was also coming from Tijuana, Mexico, we would be sitting here having the same kind of conversation. If MPP was in government and NDC was in opposition and a plane came from Tijuana, an air ambulance came from Tijuana to Ghana, stayed here for 5 days and nothing happened and the plane flew back to Tijuana, we would hear it from them. So we are being responsible and doing the responsible thing because, as I said, we are not going to sit here and allow you to wipe away all the goodwill Ghana as a country has in the international community.
Okay, ladies.
Just to say that being responsible, right, would have meant that he would have cooperated with the appropriate agencies before he comes out with any kind of fact. Being responsible would have meant that you ask questions. Oh, these flights landed. What's the purpose of these flights? So that we can all go on this wild goose chase with you of where the plane came from, what distance it traveled, what checked the pilot. So we can do that. But the minute you make such serious categorical statements, and they were not questions, they were not allegations, they were not speculations, these were explicitly stated in the press conference and subsequently that there's cocaine involved, that there's money laundering involved. Now when you make such categorical statements, you have to prove it. Responsibility would mean proving it. Basically, even because the bar is so low now, let's dance around the low bar. And let's say that responsibility would have been to sort of ask a question and demand for answers, right? But when you insist on tagging a whole nation with cocaine and money laundering, all I'm saying is that be ready because there has to be consequences for all of us.
Okay.
I'm interested in the consequences. If we allow this one to be set under the carpet, I will not be happy.
Okay.
This one has to have a conclusive ending where we know exactly who woke up on the wrong side of his bed, just decided to sing and hope that somehow this will give him some publicity. And his party not being responsible enough to check him and tell him that, listen, this is not how it's done. We appreciate Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa for his time, what he did, and how it exposed all of the wrongdoings in our time. However, let's do it well. And I hope that the NPP is picking lessons from all of these things. That if you are going to be responsible and if you are going to give us a credible opposition, which is vital, I have to admit, a credible opposition is very important in a democracy.
Okay.
An irresponsible opposition is dangerous. And that's what this is.
Okay, ladies. Let's, since we're talking about interior, the interior minister days ago mentioned that in the fight against illegal mining, Ghanaians will be prosecuted, but foreigners will be deported. And many are questioning, why do you want to deport them when they committed the crime here in Ghana? Why do you want to deport them to their home country to face the law there? They committed a crime against the Ghanaian state. Amma?
Yes. I mean, I've had this debate, raging and gaining grounds. And, I can only, speculate and say that some of it is, opinions and feelings, and people in leadership are allowed to do that. People in leadership are allowed to give their opinions.
They're not setting critical...
I'm coming, Lily. Please do pivot me, right? So, and I mean, I've been here. I was here in the heat of that GHOne, conversation, and the most important or the most pervasive feeling, of all of us at that time was the fact that you prosecute her and it goes nowhere. Somehow she finds her way,
back into our shores.
Right, and even within the system, right, that they have ways of sort of circumventing, the process and circumventing the processes even within our laws and our, so those conversations were had. Now, what does the law say? What does the law say? This government is not about to become lawless at all. And so for me, this is again conversation. It opens up the issues. So all of us can have a say in it. So all of us can express our feelings. All of us can look to how we can best address this menace that really needs to go away. Right? Galamsey is such an important issue for us in Ghana. Like, for me, if I had my way, we should have been done and dusted with Galamsey. However, it doesn't seem to want to go away, right? So for me, this is another one more way of opening up that conversation, of looking at how best we can address it. But ultimately, Lily, we all are law-abiding. This is a law-abiding state. It is the laws of this country that will determine, how we proceed. What does our law say? When we grab offenders, foreigners or locals, what does the law say? For me, it's really simple. It's a black and white issue. Everything else is conversation. Everything else is, let's talk. Let's think through it. How best can we, handle the issues? And then subsequently, the law will take its course.
Doc.
The more and more these issues come up, it becomes very, very obvious that the NDC is clueless about this Galamsey fight. They have no political will to do anything about it, and they are just very good at complaining and making noise. Because we were all in this country when they were kicking and screaming against deportation of foreign nationals who were involved in Galamsey. In fact, we were all in this country when the leader, now their current president, came out to say that it was baseless. It didn't make sense for us to be arresting the people we catch when we go to the concessions on these operations, and that we should go after the big men. In fact, yesterday I came across a video of the current special advisor to the president, I think Joyce Bauer, saying how all the equipment that comes into the country, and as a government you should know everybody that is truly involved, you know who is importing the equipment, you know this, that. So if you pair that with their approach of trying to go after the big men, it should have been simple, isn't it? But when they came into government, it has been still the same thing. For Chinese, then you can expect a double of the number as Ghanaians. For Chinese, you get about 8 Ghanaians. That's all they've been doing. Something that the MPP administration had done over the years. By the time we got to 2018, we had arrested close to 2,000 illegal miners, which had never happened before in this country. We know for a fact that all of these efforts that we made did not bring us the optimum results that we desired. So you've campaigned on the back of Galamsey to win. You've come into government and you are doing the same thing. It's you just don't understand what you are doing, or now you are also so knee deep into it that you can't do anything about it. You were calling for a state of emergency. You were calling for a ban on Galamsey. When His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo came into office, one of the first things he did, because he was very serious about the fight against Galamsey, was to put a ban on it. Let's stop everything for a few months and then see how we can rearrange the sector. The NDC has simply refused to do that because they know what they went to tell these Galamseyers to get them to vote for them. They are one of their strongest voting bases. In fact, the Organization of Small-Scale Miners even donated to the John Mahama campaign, which you can verify, because I know I'll be quick to ask me to provide evidence, so you can just Google it and you'll see it. So we know the very special relationship the NDC has with the miners, and so that is why you can't do anything about it. And now you are going a step further to display your hypocrisy, not just to the MPP, but to all well-meaning Ghanaians watching on this matter, by you making a very quick U-turn. When we said at that time that there are very diplomatic considerations involved with dealing with Chinese nationals in this country, about putting them in jail and all of that, that is not something they wanted to hear. In fact, their star boy, Honorable Kujeto Ablakwa, kicked against it so much, and now it's very curious that he is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and so I would hope that he would have stepped into this matter seriously to say, no, you've come into our jurisdiction, you've flouted our laws, and so you should bear the consequences in this country, and then after you can be deported. If you go to Europe or you go to America, you go to the UK, and even if it's whatever law you flout there, you will face the music there, finish. And as soon as you are out of jail, they will put you on a plane back to Ghana. That is the way it is done. One would argue that, they have been able to build their economies to a certain level that they are almost superpowers. So they're able to negotiate these things better. That was our argument when we were saying that the pressure that the government at that time was getting from China on this matter, let's just send them back to their country. We know how that thing went, and we know it didn't work because by some way they used to find their way back into the country. So I don't understand the NDC. You have the benefits of hindsight. You have the benefits of sitting on the sidelines for 8 years to see how a lot of these things were done. If I were them, instead of just picking stones and throwing it at everything the MPP did, because indeed they were the very I can't find a civil word. They were the most destructive opposition party we've had in this country, in the entire Fourth Republic. It was this last NDC opposition. Everything, whether good, bad, they kicked against it. The funny thing is now they are trying to actually implement a lot of those things. I would have expected that at that time they will sit down and say, okay, they are doing this. It gave some results. They are doing this, no results. So that as soon as you come, just for the good of the people of Ghana, you're able to know what works and what doesn't, and you don't waste everybody's time. But no, you come and you are doing the same thing, and treating the people of Ghana like children. How is it the same group of people whose position not too long ago was not to arrest the small people, was not to immediately deport these people? Now that you are suddenly in government, everything has changed. You said you were going to revoke the LI. That has also changed. I hope that it's becoming very clear to the people of Ghana that NDC was never interested in fighting Galamsey. It was never something that was on their hearts. It was just something they used politically, and they even played this issue they were two-sided on this issue, because they were in Accra on radio and media and with the CSOs telling them something completely different, and they were on the ground in the Galamsey pits telling them something completely different. And I do remember, what is your plan for ensuring that the people do not come back into this country? What is your grand scheme of actually fixing this problem? Because you and I know that this arresting this point here, it is not what is going to solve the problem. But when we were trying to proffer solutions after fighting this thing for 8 years and saying that we've done all of this, we have a trove of information as to what worked, what didn't work, and so now we want to do it this way, you didn't even want to listen to us. And you came with nothing of your own as to how to truly deal with this problem. And you are just going around, beating around the bush, trying to do some things for the cameras. And we've cleared 7 forest reserves, and they've asked us to come and say it's not true. Then your constituency chairman is blocking them. Then somebody is blocking the Ankobra River. And the matter is getting worse and worse and worse. On this matter, I am going to be very patriotic. And for the good of Ghana, for the good of our environment, for the good of our water bodies, I hope you are able to get a handle on this matter, because it is getting out of hand.
Amma. So, I mean, let's start from what she said about Erastus. Because Erastus is also on record to have said that this government is doing more, showing more commitment to the fight than the MPP ever did in recent times today. So, maybe I'm going to quote Erastus. Let's quote him, well. Now, Ekia speaks about the number of arrests. If you can please correct me. You said you arrested what? 2,000
Close
when?
to 2,000. 1,006. I'll find it for you.
When?
By
Because
2028, by 2018, we had arrested about 1,600.
2018.
Yes,
That far
yes, I'm
back.
saying that. Yes,
Okay.
so that it's
Alright.
close to when we came into power. So
after you came to power, because in 2023 the number of people you arrested was 218.
Yeah, no, so
and then in 2024 the number of people you arrested was 627. Right.
Fine.
So I really would hope that we stick to the facts, as they are. Now let's come to initiatives that were.
Well, it was
prepared
an
in the
Operation
past.
Vanguard arrest. It was 1,680.
You founded,
right?
That's 2017.
2018.
2018 was Galam Stop.
It was
Vanguard.
this was
Vanguard
Operation
was
Vanguard
2017.
arrested 1,687 illegal mines.
So let's do it well. So Operation Halt was in 2013. Operation Vanguard was in 2017. Galam Stop was in 2018.
Galam Stop was actually just the app.
Operation Halt 1 and Operation Halt 2. That's from 2018 to 2022, right? And I love the question that Ikea herself, poses at the end of all of these is, where did it get us? After all of these initiatives, and after all of the 8 years of the MPP, and everything that Ikea is saying now, which sounds, interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wish for the rain.
That was a huge thunder.
that was massive.
Yeah.
Right. So after all of these, operations, and all of these, nice to the ear arguments that Ikea is making this morning. Why did it get us, in our fight against Galamsey? What I do remember, however, very clearly was every time, podiums were mounted, and as a government in power, we sought to politicize the issue and say that our opponent is using Galamsey against us, but we won't play to their gallery. They are trying to force us to say this, but we won't say this. Government in power. That politicization of the Galamsey issue. And beyond that, just the attitude to Ghanaians and our call for it to stop. All of that. Let's not forget too soon where we are coming from. Now, let me mention, because Ikea wants to know what this government wants to do as far as Galamsey is concerned. And I will start from the minute sectorial ministers were appointed. And I'll speak to somebody like the Honorable Amakofi Boa. And his immediate press conference, and he was mocked. It was said that he was bemoaning the fact, and he was, being emotional, about the fact. And my question to that was, if I have any sector minister, and my sector minister is not passionate about Galamsey, I don't want him. If I have any sector minister, any minister, who is concerned or should be concerned about Galamsey, and that person is not passionate and emotional, I don't want him. Right? So let's start from there. That was one of the first things that he did, was to meet the press, state the issues that he had come to meet it, call for all stakeholders to get involved, and say that this for us is a national emergency. That's how concerned we are about this issue. Now, beyond that, I personally sat, in that parliamentary engagement, and some of this is one of the recommendations that came up. Right? It says deploy the military to support regulatory institutions to combat illegal mining. There was a timeline for that. It said immediately February. That has been done. Now it says recruit and fully deploy river guards. That's the Blue Water Initiative. This was also immediate. Oh, what's my phone doing this to me? This was also immediate.
Those are February, the whistleblowers?
No. The river guards.
Are they the Blue Water Initiative? Are they not whistleblowers?
Please, Ikea knows more about it than I do. She's seen them.
Okay.
So that has happened, right? That has happened. And even before I could speak to this, I was with Ikea somewhere else, and she was the first to talk about it. Oh, I've seen, these river guards. So it has happened. Now, holistic review of mining leases, permit, licenses for operations in forest reserve, February 2025. It is ongoing, right? Repeal LI 2462 and comprehensively review mining regulated legislation. It has been initiated, right?
You amended it, so you didn't repeal.
Yeah, it's been amended, yeah.
No, you didn't repeal it, and that's one of the problems.
Let's hold it there.
Okay, okay,
let's hold
my
it there.
time is up.
We are saying so. I mean, I could go on and on and on. There are timelines from then February that goes all the way to May, and I am very happy to announce that every single item, with its due date, has been done. There's none of these items that I would say, oh, when we went for the program, we said we would do this, but due to circumstances, no, that's not a conversation I'm having this morning. Due to circumstances beyond our control or because of this and that, it didn't happen. No. Everything that was stipulated to be done and the time given for which it should happen has happened. That's the political will. That's seriousness. That's the commitment to this fight.
All right,
I hope that the
thank
NPP
you
will
very
understand
much.
that it's a national
Amma Pratt is
issue.
press secretary to the vice president and spokesperson as well to the vice president. And then Dr. Kwamwako is a member of the NPP communications team. She was spokesperson on health for the 2024 NPP manifesto. That's it for the breakfast review. I take a break here. When I return, I bring you more conversations. Stay tuned in.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Emmys Africa Awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICC, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter or host in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system, which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts. I
prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked, and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied budgets. And so no matter the budget you have, I understand you can have the track and do business with it.
It looks huge, but very affordable. Cost is
You're welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne TV. I am Lily Mohammed. Now, if you're a lover of food like me and my friend Ajo Aloud and Terry, lend me your ears for some few minutes. This morning, I've been joined in the studio by a lady who's passionate about food. Not just food, but taking food across the length and breadth of Ghana. My guest this morning, Florence Tena, she's known as Mamli. She's the CEO of Mamli's Kitchen Catering Services and the founder of MK Buffet Experience. Nicolina Yvonne Koto is Sales and Marketing Manager for Tulip Travel and Tours Limited. Good morning, ladies. How are we doing?
Hello. Good morning.
Good to have you.
Thanks for having us.
Let me start with you, Mamli. What is the MK Buffet Experience and when did you birth this idea? What is it about?
Thank you so much. So 3 years ago, when I started my catering brand, which is the Mamli's Kitchen, I realized a lot of people were interested in, the food, the lunch, and then the corporate lunch we offer for people and all that. But I wanted to do something that would make people have more experience to what we are doing, just the food. So aside the food, you can experience a whole lot of things, which is why I came about the concept of the MK Buffet Experience. So the MK Buffet Experience is a pop-up thing I do once or twice in a year, whereby I pick people from all walks of life in Accra, Ghana, or all over the world, and they're able to experience the tourist locations we have in Ghana whilst experiencing food and also the culture we have and all that. So I started a year ago, just like last year by this time, and it was quite well. I mean, the feedbacks and everything was good. So I decided to, keep doing it, and so far so good. It's been a good one.
But a year ago when you started, why did you choose Adan? Was that the first place you chose?
Yes, please.
Why Adan specifically?
Okay, so Adan because...
Is that where you're from?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not because I come from Adan, but
So
I feel like Adan is a very beautiful place. Like when you're talking about the best islands we have in Ghana, you can find them in Adan. When you're talking about the best resorts, you can find them in Adan. We also have tourist sites.
Those of us from the central region will disagree.
Oh, but central region do not have islands.
But we have resorts.
Yeah, so resorts. Ghana is beautiful. We have other tourist sites that are beautiful and like in every region. But I feel like Adan was more closer to Accra.
Okay.
Because I had to convince people to travel with me, and so they wouldn't be comfortable traveling like 5 hours, 4 hours. And Adan is just like 1 hour drive from Accra.
Okay.
So I decided to choose Accra. I decided to choose Adan basically. Yeah.
But how many people were on that particular trip? What did you do on that trip? Walk us through that day.
Okay, like last year?
Yes.
Okay, so last year we did it at the estuary, Adan Estuary. We have this beach resort, which is called Maranatha Beach Resort. When you get there, you see the estuary view where the river meets with the sea. And it was nice. We were able to experience the boat ride. People told me, that's like their first time having a boat cruise, and they were scared. But later on, they were happy. They didn't even want to come back to Accra. And we were able to experience a whole lot of food as well, like the jollof, the local dishes to banku and tilapia, fufu, and all that.
Hey,
yes. Wow. And they were able to also visit the Crocodile Island, which is not far from, Adan. So we're able to tour the place and all that. Yeah.
So how was the experience like? People get on board the bus, they are fed on the bus, they get to the various resorts, they are fed other resorts that you cook there, or you took the food along. Did you ask them beforehand the food they would like to eat?
Yeah. So during that period, I had to go to like a resort and then try and talk to the managers. So this year, we've been able to do that with Peace Holiday Resort. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to, display this whole thing. So Peace Holiday Resort gave us the access. They are giving us the access to the space on the 19th of April. And during that time, because I'm a chef, I would partner with their chef and we'll make these foods from scratch. Okay. So from the local cuisine to the continental, everything from scratch. Yeah. And then from Accra, we would have the Tulip Travels. They'll be taking care of our guests from Accra more to So maybe she can.
Okay, so Tulip Travels, why did you decide to come on board this experience?
Oh, okay, so I think we share the same goal. We're all about creating like unforgettable moments. Like she said, she will bring the flavor, we bring the journey. So it's not just a trip.
Okay.
No, a meal. It's a whole experience just fused into one from start to finish. So you're going to start from Accra. That's Accra Mall. The time is 7 a.m. There'll be breakfast on the bus. And
that is for this year's event?
Yeah, for this year's
event.
When
is it? Before you give us the itinerary.
19th of April, Easter Saturday.
That's nice.
Next week Saturday.
Next week Saturday, yeah.
So it's a laid-back day for this particular adventure.
Yes, we are going to mark Christ's
his death and resurrection. Yes, so we can fuse this one into what?
No, this one, they are not marking his death. This is delayed birth for Christ. We don't want to cry during that day. So this is delayed birthday for Jesus.
Okay, so from Accra, we'll have snacks in the bus. Bus takes off at 7 a.m. Ghanaians, time is 7 a.m.
I like the fact that you're rehashing on that. Yeah.
We are a bit of latecomers, so time is 7 a.m. From 7 a.m. we'll have some snacks in the bus. Then we'll move to Inchinchim Museum, where we're going to learn a bit of history.
Inchinchim,
yes.
Yeah.
The
I've
history.
never been there. I think
then you should come.
You
should. Please do. We're extending a warm invitation to you.
Okay.
So we'll have a cultural tour there. Afterwards, we'll go to Crocodile Island, where we'll get to have a feel of these fascinating reptiles, the crocodiles, monkeys, I don't know. You can play or have fun with the crocodiles in quotes. Afterwards, we'll hitch a boat ride to Peace Holiday Resort, where the whole fun, games, and entertainment begins. Mamle will shed more light on the food. There's going to be local cuisine and continental as well. Drinks, everything you dream of. It's a whole experience on that day.
Mamle, tell us, on that day, what food should attendees expect?
Okay. I mean, we should expect varieties. So we are talking about we're starting with starter, and then the main, and then dessert. We will also have welcome drinks. So just when they are coming out from the boat, we would have some local drinks served so they can calm down and then relax. And we have the small chops. The small chops, we are featuring our local, cuisines like the adode, the wagashi, and then the spring roll, samosa, all those small chops that you can just have a feel of. And then the main dish, we are looking at bangkong with tilapia, fufu with goat soup, kokonte, and jollof rice, fried rice. So literally, we are having variety of all kinds of dishes. We've had people from outside who have shown interest, so we are making sure that they also, even though they are not comfortable with the local, they'll still have something to eat on that day. Yeah.
How much is this going for, and why should people hop onto this beautiful experience?
Well, it's very affordable. You just have to contact us and we'll speak to you about the rate, but it's honestly affordable. Well, you should come. Come live.
Affordability varies. How much should I budget if I want to call Tulip?
It's really within your means, I should say, and everybody's. It's just a day to have fun, adventure, and escape the hustle and bustle of Accra. But like for a whole day, you can come for this sweet, spicy, and satisfying sweet buffet from Mamle, satisfying memories, and spicy toss. Yes,
that's exciting.
You should come. You should.
So how do people, get on board this particular event?
Okay. What do you want to go?
So
first?
they can reach out on Tulip Travels. They can also call our official number, which is 054-346-8800.
Again, please.
They can also follow us.
Please take your time and mention the numbers. I'm sure people are eager.
Okay.
They want to enjoy. They want to savor in the good meals you're preparing.
Okay, so you can reach us on 054-346-8800. And you can also follow us on Instagram, MK Buffet Experience, and you can DM us. Yeah.
And then you can have unforgettable memories. What do you call it? For you at Tulip, is it just this you organize, or you do other tours as well?
We do other tours as well. As the name suggests, we are a travel and tour company. We do ticketing and reservation as well, hotel reservation, transportation services, like we are catering for this particular event, international, business, and leisure travels. Everything travel and tours.
We can speak to you.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. Who are sponsoring this particular experience?
Okay, so we have our various partners, GHOne, we have Peace Holiday Resorts, we also have Amayal TV, so they are bringing us live stream from the event, and also we have Slick Deco, they are taking care of our deco on that day, and we have Tulip Travels as well, they are taking care of our transportation and all that, and we also have our videographers on board and all that. So, yeah.
Okay, so next week Saturday.
Yes,
right?
next week Saturday.
We're headed to Peace Holiday. Please, 7 a.m. No Ghana man time. 7 a.m. GMT. It doesn't mean Ghana man time.
Please come and let's have
Yes. So what should I bring when I'm coming on the store?
Just come hungry.
I like that. Come with my empty stomach.
Come with your empty belly.
Come
You leave with
hungry.
belly full.
Yes,
Also
come hungry and come with your swimming costumes, your beach hat and all that. Just be ready to party because we are going to have an experience. Like I said, from the boat ride on the River Volta, and then we'll also visit the estuary and all that. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're hoping that we get to enjoy this beautiful journey filled with sweet and savory moments. And of course, spicy as well.
Yeah.
That's Florence Taylor. She's known as Mamley. She's the CEO of Mamley's Kitchen, Catering Services, and founder of MK Buffet Experience. And then Nicolina Yvonne Cotto, Sales and Marketing Manager, Tulip Travel and Tours Limited. We are back shortly after this breather with Health Alert. GHOne TV and it's still GH Today. It's now time for Health Alert. On Health Alert this morning, we're discussing malaria prevention, and there's a campaign to distribute mosquito nets. How far are we on that campaign? My guest this morning, Nasira Tuimuru, she's Health Promotion Officer, and Abraham Addo is also Health Promotion Officer with the Ghana Health Service. Good morning to you, Nasira. It's been a while.
Good morning.
You've been hiding from me.
Yes. It's busy all around.
I know.
Yes.
Especially when you have a new health minister who also has his vision. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. But where are we on our fight against malaria?
Okay. I'll earlier, first of all, thank our viewers and GHOne. It's important for us to do this program because if you look at the data from all health facilities, malaria is always on top. We have a system where we collate all data of the health-related conditions and issues, and always malaria is on top. And malaria is a vector that transmits to human and to human to another, which can easily be eliminated.
Okay.
It's not something that is beyond us, but due to certain things we are not doing right, it is causing a lot of deaths, causing a lot of disabilities, and certain activities that we can embark on to ensure that by 2028 malaria is eliminated completely.
Okay, so I see you have a new campaign. What is LLINS?
Okay, LLIN is actually not new because we started distributing bed nets somewhere 2012. So every 3 to 4 years, the bed nets wear out.
Oh, so after every 3 to 4 years, it has to be changed?
Yes.
People have been using it for 6 years.
For 6 years, yes. So that is why we are here, to let everybody understand what the program is all about. So every 3 to 4 years, we do registration to be able to give people who are qualified with the bed net. And now, initially we used to do it the whole of Greater Accra and beyond Greater Accra. But this particular one, we are targeting only 21 districts in Greater Accra, where volunteers are trained and will be given identification. It's even giving identification because we are starting today.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, you're starting today?
It's starting today.
Starting today, okay.
And it will end on the 13th. So the volunteers, we name them as registration volunteers, assistants. So we call them RAs. So they will move from house to house. And with this house to house, we have a criteria that qualifies you to be registered. So we are using households. So when we say household, household have different way of describing household.
Sure.
But our criteria we are using is people who live together and eat from the same pot. So if you have father, mother, and children who cook from one pot and eat being served from that same pot, is considered as a household. But if a house help, an in-law, also lives with them, we still consider that family as a household, and we serve a bed net. And the modality is that 2 per net. 2 per net. So if it is 2 per net and you are 3, we'll still give, so 2 per net. If you are 2, we are giving you 1 bed net. And then if you are 3, we are giving you 2. If you are 4, we are also giving you 2. But if the household is more than 10, then we are still giving you 5. If it is 9, we are giving you 5. So it helps us to be able to identify households and give them. Meanwhile, if we have an elderly person who is above 70 years who lives with that household, we will register that person as a different household, because we assume that someone who is above 70 years will definitely not sleep together with the other household members. So register that person alone. And the criteria is also that we will ask of the household head details. That is what we will use. Okay. And any ID card is required. Because after registration, you'll be issued with a code to keep.
I was coming to the process of registering for the LLI, and I wanted Abraham to help us. What's the process like? If I've used my bed net for 6 years, 8 years, and I think that it's time to change it, even though the requirement is 3 years.
Okay, so what really goes into the registration process is that, like she already mentioned, these registration assistants are expected to go into homes. People should not register people by the roadside, because we are dealing with households. Understand? So they will go into people's homes, and then after greeting and asking how many members form this household, or how many households are in maybe a compound. Because you could go into a compound where you have about 5 different households. So the RA asks for this information, and then the household head, he or she is the one whose name will be used for the registration. So these are some of the details: the name of the household head. If he has a contact number, they take it. If he has any valid national ID, say a national health insurance, the Ghana card, or the voter ID. If he has that one or she has that one, they also collect that information, and also the location or the area that the registration is taking place. That's the community name for the place. So once these details are punched, so they'll be using an electronic device. Once these details are captured, the device then generates a unique code with the community name for the household. That is what they'll be using to redeem the nets during the distribution phase. But supposing an RA goes into a home and the household head doesn't even have the identification or a phone number, they can still be registered because they have a name, and their location could be quite different from another. And also, what is unique about this process is that the unique identifier that is generated after the registration has been done is unique to every other household. So during the time of the redemption of the nets, the household head or whoever he or she may choose to represent them will come to the distribution site with that identifier to receive the nets.
Is Ghana Health Service still giving out mosquito nets or bed nets to pregnant women who come to your facilities, for instance?
Yes, that is being done. It is done at, I think, 18 months.
Okay.
So once the mother has taken seed, comes to the facility, and they give birth, they are given a net.
Okay.
And so that process is also going on. And besides giving to pregnant mothers, we also give to children.
Okay.
We also give to children because they are classified as vulnerable. We don't want them to get the malaria parasite. That will also have an impact on even the unborn child. So we are still doing that. And also there's an arrangement to even give to some foster homes. That's a special arrangement. So during this registration exercise, we will not be going to those areas. Areas like the police barracks, where we have policemen sleeping there. Those people will be registered. But let's say a military zone or area where they will come and go back, those people will not be will not be added.
Places that are like transit zones.
Transit zones will not be added. Yeah.
I'm sure viewers out there who have expired, we call it, they're expired, right?
Yes.
If it's more than 3 years, then it's expired.
Yes.
Expired bedness. Who wants
so it's either 3 years or 20 washes.
Oh,
so if
you wash it 20 times,
20
it's really
times,
expired.
yes. Because the chemical in it that protects you from the bite of the mosquito, if you happen to wash it 20 times, the chemicals reduce, or sometimes it's even wear out the chemicals.
But you know, in the past, there were some, Ghanaians always used to run some ads on TV where there were medication. There was a chemical that was given, was a pill-like chemical.
Like a tablet.
Yes, like a tablet, where you put it in water and puts the nets back.
That was being done in the past, not anymore. The reason is, you know, these tablets, after you have mixed them in water, there's a certain quantity of water that you will need. And people were not doing it rightly. Also, after they have washed the disposal of the water, with the chemical, if it's not disposed well, it also exposes the environment to some people will be healing those things in. So to forestall all that, that's why we are giving out now the insecticide treated nets. And to top up with what Nasira was saying, even though after 20 washes or 3 years, the nets, the insecticide, the strength of that is gone, the net, if it's still in good condition, can be used. Only that it will not kill the mosquito, but it will still serve as a barrier against the mosquito bite. But it's advisable that you get one that is treated. But as it protects, it also deals with the mosquito as well.
Okay, so how can viewers get one? Can you walk into any health facility and say that I want a treated bed net?
That is available at the health facility. It is available to the pregnant mothers and then the children. But for this exercise, that is why we are going into homes. And the plan is that it will move from the weekday even into the weekend, so it will be ending on a Sunday. So those will be missed during the working days because they will go to the markets and their shops. Saturday and Sunday, the expectation is that they will be at home so that when these registration assistants come into their home, they can get access. Everybody who is at risk of contracting malaria, the expectation is that you take advantage of this exercise, get registered, so that you can also have access to the nest. Today you may think it's not necessary.
But tomorrow you realize that it's really. But are there some numbers out there that people can call and say, oh, maybe you haven't gotten to my area, or maybe you came into my area but I was not home, because maybe some people work over the weekends as well, so maybe they were not home. Can they reach out to the Ghana Health Service or any other?
Okay, so I can't speak specifically to numbers that have been made available, but even whilst this exercise is going on, there are still health facilities in these communities. So if peradventure your home has not been visited, you just take that little time, visit the health facility. There will be officers there during this period of registration to get you registered.
Okay. So that's some good news there. So if you are at home or if you're at work, don't worry. Over the weekends when you're at home, they'll get to you. Even if you're working over the weekends, you can go to any health facility within your community and tell them. Then the IRAs will come and register you for the treated bed net. It's important that we safeguard ourselves from malaria. Thank you very much. Nasira Trimuru and Abraham Ado, they are both health promotion officers with the Ghana Health Service. That's it for Health Alert.
Food. This store will be hosted at Peace Holiday Island in Ada. The place is very beautiful with a swimming pool blue as the sky. This whole trip goes for 850 Ghana cedis and for staycation 1,500 cedis.
celebrations. Yes, 5 decades of amazing memory. To you. If you're also marking any significant milestone, we say congratulations to you from us, the entire team, from director, producers, camera, sound, light, and flow. We say thank you very much for staying tuned in, and thank you to all the people behind the scenes who make this happen on every single day. My name is Lily Mohammed. I'll catch you again on the flip side at 11:30 a.m. Bye for now.
GHOne OV van has been one of the best vans I've used personally in this country. It runs a system where we are able to run on Dante to be able to do our broadcast mixed well also from this van.
I've used this OB van for quite a number of big productions, i.e. 3 music awards, the late President Rollis' state funeral, Miss Africa awards, and a number of them.
My experience with the GHOne van has been the state of the art equipment they have. Personal experience is you can use it for both indoor and outdoor, all events, conferencing, like anything you need a van to work for you, GHOne provides it.
My experience with the van has been very good. Why? Because it has a number of facilities that I may not get in other vans. You know, the van has a very wide bench that can accommodate all my technical crew, ICCU, switcher, graphics, CG, and all of that. And then it also has a studio, a green room studio that comes with TriCaster. So if you want somebody to do commentary on a live event, you can put that presenter who's in that studio as well and get that running.
To give an experience to our audience, we're also watching on TVs and online. Work with an Exo technology system, which makes your video mixing with Panasonic cameras, like a lot of other stuff in terms of content you need to get also for your live broadcasts.
I prefer the GHOne van to a lot of other vans I've used, or even doing my own setup on a tabletop setup, because on a production you see a number of people in the van, and so if you have a very small van, it means that it's going to be choked. and that will affect the creativity as well. The price has been discounted as well to accommodate varied